Part 1, an introduction to the season. I had the occasion this past Saturday to put my father-in-law's ashes in my backpack and carry them on a hike with other family members into a forest reserve back in Illinois. The date had been earlier set because we would all be together to celebrate Thanksgiving. An odd, ironic, and very rich occurrence, an apt convergence, I think. We walked along the trail into the woods, now turned to fields of leafless trees. We found a pleasant spot there where a meandering stream formed a deep bend, affording us a landing from which we could launch the ashes into the water that carried the ashes with our tears away. It was left to me to say something, and so I remembered words I wrote some 3 decades ago when a dear friend had died. They are words I often recite even here. when with the loved ones of those departed we plant ashes in our memorial garden just here out front. The words remind me of the truth of our human, earthbound experience. Fiery autumn fades to brown. The final leaves so slowly find their way to the ground. Soft white cloud overhead. So soon comes sunset of red. The seasons whirl, their cycles spun. Just as birth, so death does come. In his sonnet number 78, William Shakespeare speaks of this same seasonal and seemingly eternal truth. That time of year thou mayest in me behold, when yellow leaves, or none or few, do hang upon those boughs which shake against the cold, bare ruined choirs where late the sweet birds sang. In me thou seest the twilight of such day as after sunset fadeth in the west, which by and by black night doth take away, death's second self that seals up all in rest. In me thou seest the glowing of such fire that on the ashes of his youth doth lie, as the deathbed whereon it must expire, consumed with that which it was nourished by. This thou perceivest, which makes thy love more strong, to love that well, which thou must leave ere long. In olden days, no matter our heritage, our ancestors were a rural people. The whole world operated from a rhythm that stemmed from cycles of an agrarian calendar. Seasons of festival or fasting were tied to seasons of human husbandry with the earth and its creatures. Liturgical calendars, ecclesiastical schedules of spiritual life developed, keeping religion apace with the more natural rhythms of bodies, of men and women, of stars, moon, and sun. In this season, in olden times, when so many animal populations either died or fell into deep, long slumber, when the harvest was brought home and stored for the time ahead, when the darkness of night stretched its shadowy borders, overwhelming the edges of the day, when the rhythms of plant life slowed, the rhythms of the people slowed too, in a kind of syncopated rhythm. In this season, in olden times, when the leaves had abandoned their branches, when woodland streams turned cold and gray, when fields lay bare and barren winds blew over them, this season provided a spell for holding darkness and even death close to heart. In olden times, this darkening season was a time for solitude, for turning thoughts inward, for remembering. It was a time for discovering the wear and tear from yet another year of aging, a time for uncovering losses and reconnecting strengths. It was a time for gleaning perspective as the season just passed settled into a Spoon River-like gathering among its kin of yesteryear. In olden times, in some parts of the world, this season was known as Advent, a time of marking time, of putting things away and waiting, a time of emptying out, of expectancy. To everything there is a season, and this one holds in it both a time to seek and a time to lose. The time to be born is past, though, and it may come again, but this is the time for dying. This is Advent on the Christian calendar. It is a time of longing, of expectation, of waiting. It is a time of night. It is a time of darkness.